Hello, it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast for your ears. Not exactly a review, I'm just going to be talking about episode 1, spoiler-free, of the new Netflix series, 1899. Not the biggest TV watcher of all time, but Dark is probably my favorite TV show of all time. One of the top 5. Shows that just boggled my mind, kept me turning all the way to the end. I say page turning, but, kept me glued to the story, to the characters, everything. It was constantly evolving. I just think Dark was on a whole nother level than a lot of shows. And so I've been very excited to watch 1899, the new show from the creators of Dark. If I butcher their names, I apologize. They're German, Gentje Fries and Baran Bo Odar. They have done several things together. He's a movie director. They're partners in creativity and in life, it seems. He directed an American movie and worked on an American movie called Sleepless with Jamie Foxx. If you haven't seen it, it's not bad. It's not as good as Dark, but it was an interesting movie. It was as convoluted as their stuff tends to be. I don't know that it always played out exactly how it should have, but it was an interesting flick and not bad. But anyway, getting back to 1899, I watched the first episode tonight, and I can't give you too many spoilers because I don't really know any. So I'll just talk about a few things. Now, the plot of this German show, by the way, it is German, but a lot of it's in English. There are multiple languages spoken in the show, and the subtitles pop up when they need to be, but most of the characters speak English. Set in the year 1899, just at the turn of the new century, it follows a group of European migrants traveling from London on a steamship named Caribos to start new lives in New York City. By the way, Caribos is linked on Wikipedia to Cerebos, the hound from hell. I think that's kind of interesting. The passengers are united in optimism about what the future holds until they encounter another migrant ship adrift in the open sea. A hereto uncomplicated journey to the promised land turns into a horrifying nightmare of staggering proportions. That kind of sounds like Dark. Well, the staggering proportions part. You never knew that Dark was going to get as big as it did when it did. And I imagine that's probably how 1899 will be. There are only 8 episodes, and from what I understand, it does not wrap up. That there's planned to be multiple seasons, much like Dark. Dark lasted 3 seasons, and until it was completely done, you really didn't know the whole story. And I'm figuring this is going to go that way, especially after watching the first episode. Like I said, it's about an hour long. The special effects are great, by the way. You really feel like it's 1899. They filmed in the Volume, which is the same thing they filmed The Mandalorian on, which is a soundstage with screens where they can project. It's a sumptuous-looking 4K Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision thing on Netflix. It really looks and sounds great. There's some interesting choices in the sound design, music design, some really creepy things, some effects things. I don't know if I would have done certain things that way. They're unnerving and disturbing and kind of grating. Maybe that was the point. We'll see as it plays out. So we meet a few of the characters. When the whole show starts, we get this little... the main character appears to be in kind of an asylum as she sees somebody in the darkness, and they come pull her away, and she says something about knowing what they're doing on the 2 ships and some other babbling things and screams, and then there's a whoosh and an ocean, and then somebody tells her to wake up, and she wakes up, and she's on the ship in 1899 with bruises on her wrist, like she's been tied up. She has some medical books and things like that, and we find out she's a doctor, and she begins to meet other people on the ship, and that's how the show starts. There's a lot of triangle imagery. There is a wife who's in a marriage of convenience. She wears some pretty extravagant earrings. They have the upside-down triangles that you see in the poster, and that we also saw in the beginning in the visions of the ship on the edge of a triangle. We're not sailing anywhere near the Bermuda Triangle, so I know it's not going to have too much to do with that, but triangles do have something to do. It's a little obvious when women's earrings and things like that. there's something going on. The underclass who lives underneath are not supposed to fraternize with the up, and they need a doctor because of a pregnancy. So our main character, who's a doctor, goes and fixes things and gets in trouble for it. And we're slowly meeting all the characters. There's a couple of Asian ladies who are pretending to be something and learning Japanese, but they appear to be Chinese. And everybody seems to have multiple layers here. And so they find by the end of the episode this other ship, this ship that's been supposed to be missing for the last 4 months. And they go on board and they find weirdness so far. The episode ends with them finding a young boy who seems to be perfectly fine. He's been on a ship appearing, it looks like he's by himself, for 4 months. And he unwraps and hands them a rough pyramid triangle looking thing. In the meantime, while they're over there, it appears somebody swims over from that ship and climbs aboard the Kerberos. The other ship is called Prometheus. I know what those terms are in mythology, but I haven't looked up deeper meanings with the triangles and the Cerberus, Kerberos, and the Prometheus and all that. I know based on Dark that whatever I would come up with would pale in comparison to where they're going to take us, so I'm kind of just enjoying it, not looking things up, not thinking about it too much. I kind of let the first episode just happen without trying to figure anything out. And I'm glad because at the end of it, I wouldn't have been able to figure anything out. You know, I tried to pay attention if there were signs of things like the triangles and such. Like I said, the special effects are great. It looks beautiful. It sounds great. No complaints so far. First episode, like I said, no spoilers. Can't really talk about it because a few things happen to all of this. They introduce all these major characters and a little bit of this mythology and this situation they're going to be in. They're on a ship. They meet another ship. Things are starting to go downhill already. I'm all in. It's listed as a epic period mystery horror streaming television series. That's a lot of qualifiers there, but I'm all in. If you haven't watched Dark yet, I would highly recommend getting through those 3 seasons. Not that the 2 shows have anything to do with each other. The director said, as in an interview today, as a matter of fact, that they're completely unrelated. Different, there's just no way they could ever, different universe, I guess. $18.99 just started on Netflix. I believe all 8 episodes are up. I plan to take my time with it and not binge it all in one weekend, but who knows? But I'm very excited to get into it. The first episode did not disappoint. Like Dark, it starts slow, but this one already has a lot more going on in the first hour than Dark. Dark had less characters doing fewer things in the first episode. This has a lot of characters with a lot of stuff going on. We need to find out how it all connects and how it all comes together in this mystery. Very excited about it. $18.99 is now streaming on Netflix, so check it out from the makers of Dark. Scott Hamilton, I'm ROCKFILE. My links are below. Many more podcasts and videos on the way. Thank you for listening. Have a spectacular day.